everyone, I'm Kaitlin.
And I am Jillian.
And we are the hosts of the OK Drama podcast.
We're two friends recap and break down K-dramas.
Woo! We're here on a sleepy Sunday morning to talk about Mystic Pop-Up Bar. But first, where can you find us around the internet, Jill?
You can find us at Gmail, okdramapodcast@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. You can find us on our website, okdrama podcast. Is it?
I think it's just okdrama.com.
Also on the Instagrams, okdrama podcast. It's basically okdrama or okdrama podcast everywhere. We're on Twitter.
Yes. I
think that's
that one's okdrama pod.
It's some variation.
Yeah, just open the show notes. We're around the internet, and we'd like to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. We have an Etsy.
Yes.
And through that Etsy, we're getting into the holidays. So if you have a fellow drama lover that may enjoy some pins or stickers, you can check that out. All of our stuff is, I feel, pretty decently priced and cheap. So you can get something for somebody or something for yourself. Because why not?
Yes. Treat yourself. Get yourself a little Christmas gift.
Definitely.
I know I did. Yes, and we have a Patreon where you can get our episodes early and get bonus episodes. So yeah, fun stuff. All right, so going into Mystic Pop-Up Bar, I guess first off, how'd you feel about it?
I enjoyed it. I felt like there were a lot of similarities between that and Hotel de Luna.
Yeah.
And also some moments that reminded me of Uncanny Counter. The spirit invading bodies and such. Or sucking up other spirits. But yeah, it was a little slow in the beginning. In the first episode, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love this. But as the episodes progressed, I started to enjoy the characters a lot more and be more invested in them. I think it just took a little minute to really get into the series.
Yeah. I watched this when it was on like weekly. So I think it kind of helped build the suspense between each thing, which made me more invested. But yeah, this one was a big hit on Twitter, which was why so many people were excited when we decided to do this one. And yeah, I guess we'll get into it. On Wikipedia, donate to Wikipedia, because I'm getting pop-up messages whenever I go, and they're like, people need to donate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Helps the wiki.
So, yes. Mystic Pop-Up Bar, in Korean, it's Sung-jae, which literally means Twin Tops Bar. It is a 2020 South Korean TV series starring Hwang Jung-eum, Yook, Sung-jae, and Choi. It's based on the Daum webtoon Twin Tops Bar by Bae Hae-soo. So yeah, another little webtoon.
Yeah.
Gig. Lots
of those.
Yeah. So yeah, the Wikipedia didn't have a lot of information on it because I was I wonder how well it did. It didn't really say. So I don't know if it didn't. I think it maybe was just average, I guess, in Korea, but people on Twitter really liked it. So
yeah, I know this is a series that was just popping up on my Netflix way before we even decided to do it. It was in suggested or one of the top things or something, and the name sounded interesting, so I had saved it and then never got around to watching it.
Yeah.
So this drama's good because it forces me to watch things that I know I'm gonna enjoy, but just I'm never gonna get around to if I'm not forced to do it.
Yes. Yeah. There's so many things on my mind list. Oh, I want to read that. I want to watch that.
I want to do that.
Enough time.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are a lot of like cameos in this drama. Moving on to Hey, I Know That Guy. So I didn't like list everything because there are like a bunch of characters. So I just did like 3 main ones. And again, I'm only listing the things that we have seen together.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, it's a very star-studded cast, and those people have been in like a billion things. But our main guy, Han Kang-bae, is played by Yook Sung-jae. He's also in Goblin as Dokwa. Did you get that one?
I didn't, but when I read this earlier, I was like, oh yeah, that's obviously him. Definitely.
Okay.
He looked familiar, but I never do research before, so I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I've seen him. Like, I remember that smile. I don't remember who you are.
He plays such a different character in this one to Goblin, so
definitely.
Yeah. This next one, I was like, oh shit. So, Yoon Hae-ran plays, I'm just gonna call her like the little demon lady, Yoon Ra-de-wang, I guess. She played Mayok in The Uncanny Counter.
That I did not recognize.
I did not connect those two.
Again, totally different characters.
Yes. I had seen her in other things that I recognized her from, but I was like, because she's, very popular, but I was like, oh my god, she looks so different.
Yeah, that hair was a look.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, she's like a sweet old lady in The Uncanny Counter.
Yes.
Taking care of everyone, making noodles.
Kicking ass.
This one, she's like...
Still kicking ass, but...
Kicking ass, way. But like, yeah, hot demon lady. In suits. Very cool. Okay, and then last one is Lee Jun-hyuk. Asian Wiki said his character name was Department Head Yom, but I think they called him something else in the drama. He's like Death, the guy in the white suit.
So the father of... What's his face?
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in Along with the Gods, and he was also in Itaewon Class, I think, as like... It said the like last 3 episodes.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember him in Itaewon Class, but
yeah.
I've seen him in, like... Again, he's in a lot of things.
Yeah, he also had a face I recognized, but I couldn't pinpoint from where.
Yeah.
The woman that plays Mayok, though, I did not recognize her at all.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my god. Gosh, like, good job, costume and makeup people on both of those dramas.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Definitely.
Okay, so...
We got some reviews.
How other people felt? Yes.
Yeah, I enjoy reading people's reviews. Even though, like, oftentimes I'm like, you're stupid. I don't think your review makes sense, or I don't agree with that review at all. I still enjoy reading them, but I'm sure people have that same thought when they're listening to this podcast.
I'm sure some people do.
Okay, so reviews. Title of this one, Enjoy the Crazy Ride. Every episode is fun, and there's a lesson we take away each time we watch it. Almost always we become jealous of people who have more capabilities than us, but this shows that knowing and having that much can get very lonely too. I had never expected the story to be so deep and at the same time so heartwarming and touching. Each and every episode holds a mystery which unfolds just nicely. It totally delivers the heart-wrenching and heartwarming stories in a not overdramatic way. I actually like that they didn't focus much on romance, but human life itself, which is perfect for what is going on in this world today. I cried and laughed every single episode. The growth of attachment between the trio, which eventually strengthened, was so sweet to watch. I agree with that. I particularly agree with not liking that they didn't focus much on romance, but human life. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
The romances just don't really get me in shows. It has to be a very, 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 very special kind of love to where I'm super invested. But this was good.
Yeah, I agree. I like the little, like, kind of, I guess almost like episodic, like each story can kind of be contained to its own episode. Whereas like other dramas where they like really overextend one story, and I'm like, this doesn't need to be like whatever 8 episodes of this one storyline. Like,
that's partially why it reminded me of Hotel de Luna, because every episode in there was like kind of like it had the overarching theme also, but there were the singular episodes of the different ghosts. Yeah. And in this case, it was the different people and their grudges or whatever. And this also isn't a long drama.
Yes.
So it's great that they didn't like drag the story on and on and on and on and on. Like it gets to the point pretty quickly of what's happening, why it's happening, who's doing what. And you're not just seeing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's a pretty like I wouldn't say it's a simple premise, but like they kind of like simplified like kind of the main, I guess, devices and like Goblin and Hotel de Luna, where those are kind of like confusing. I think sometimes it's just like, okay, they whatever, go to Dream World, they fix people's grudges, and she gets points. Like, yeah, it's a little bit more.
It's a game.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. I like the little trio of them is just like so cute to me. I love like their dynamic like between all of the characters, and yeah, by the end, which we'll get to, I was just like, when the first time I watched it, I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was great to see the love for each other really build from episode to episode. Yeah. And kind of their friendship together and their need to be around each other. It was a good watch, definitely. All right, review number 2. Mystic Pop-Up Bar was a surprisingly enjoyable and fun show to watch at times. As dramas go, Mystic Pop-Up was a surprisingly enjoyable and fun show at times. Okay. It wasn't groundbreaking upon the traditional concept of the oblivious protagonist stumbling into the world unknown. However, there were a lot of intriguing aspects of Korean culture, modern and traditional, mythology, particularly deities, and a strangely sweet romance between Kangbae and a most unlikely love interest in security guard Kang Yorin. Nonetheless, it was a bit of a conundrum from a watching perspective. The biggest problem with this lay upon stealing too many cliches and tropes into the storyline. Whilst this in itself is not a crime, and Mystic Pop-Up Bar did have a fairly intriguing premise, the drama just did not expand upon many of the later intriguing aspects as well, particularly with the shocking twists near the finale. This also caused and created too many loose ties in the entire show, particularly later plot holes. It's understandable that the drama tried to balance comedy and melodrama to appeal to audiences. However, the biggest problem for Mystic Pop-Up Bar was relying too heavily upon comedy for a major proportion of the drama, then allowing the later melodrama to be just as impactful in later storylines.
Yeah, it sounds like this person just has a different taste in...
Yeah, I don't think I was confused by the show or felt like there were plot holes. I'm trying to think, but I don't remember anything being weird. I remember thinking like, oh, that's convenient. That's convenient. She's like the fucking Cinnabar, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like little things like that, where I was just like, okay, well, like, of course she must be, or she must be something because she doesn't tell all of her secrets when he touches her, whatever, that sort of thing. But I don't feel like I was ever like, why didn't they tell us about this, or why didn't they tie this with a ribbon?
Yeah. I think it's like we said, like, they just didn't, like, drag anything out. It was just like, here you go. Whereas I guess maybe this person wanted more.
Yeah, delving more into specific storylines.
Yeah, I read another review that was basically just like, I would have preferred just a historical drama focusing on, like, Wolju and the prince. Like, I don't need any of the modern story. And I was like, well, that's just a totally different drama.
That is, yeah, definitely.
It sounds like you just want to watch a historical drama. So
with like people in love that can't be in love.
Yes. So
or aren't allowed to be in love.
Yeah, like, but I mean, I do get it. Like, they're basically saying they thought the chemistry between the younger versions was better, which I don't really agree with, but whatever. I mean, I thought both were like really good. Like,
yeah, I mean, we didn't even get a ton of moments with like their younger real versions together either. Like, most of the time he was asleep.
Yeah. Or just walking around
smiling.
Like, thinking of her. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I much preferred the modern parts of the series. Also because the actress that plays her in the modern parts is like stunning, and all of her outfits were just like super unbelievable, and I wanted everything.
Yes.
And also the guy that plays like the prince in the modern series, I feel like is much more better looking than he's nicer to look at.
Yeah, he's definitely a handsome guy.
Yeah, handsome older dude.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump in.
All right.
I'll read episode 1.
Okay.
So.
And these are all like synopsis from Netflix. Okay.
Yeah. So Wolju is intrigued when a tight-lipped customer who refuses to open up about her problems suddenly starts pouring out her heart to Hwang Jung-eum. So yeah, it starts with the flashback of young Wolju and leads to her suicide. I'm just reading my notes that I took while watching, which I felt like was like, oh shit, like that kind of start is like
intense.
And then I just said, I'm happy for the sample girl that she was helped, and men are so gross sometimes, and I love all of Wolju's looks. Yeah, I felt like the first episode was really like I don't know, like I liked the grudge that they solved in the first one. I felt like it was maybe pretty relatable for a lot of women or people in general.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I also like, loved
you're gonna kill yourself by jumping in front of a truck. That's like my number one fear from Korean dramas now is getting hit by a truck.
Yeah, I also really loved the flashback at the start because that really automatically tells you what happened and why people are where they are.
Yeah.
And at first, like, it starts off pretty great because Wolju is just like this young girl, this young kid basically, who's just like helping people. Like, she just has an amazing little gift and is able to help all these people, and she helps the fucking prince, and then the queen gets all pissed.
Yes.
It like shifts so quickly. It's crazy.
Yeah. And like they kind of fill in the blanks like as the series goes on, but that's like one of my pet peeves with historical dramas, and I guess, you know, people they just portray everyone to be like so irrational in like the back of then times. Like,
I'm sure they fucking were though.
I'm sure they were, like the royalty.
Yes, I'm sure they still are.
Yes, it's just like you don't have to be such an asshole.
Yeah, like you're already with power.
Yeah.
Do you have to kill a kid and her mother? Exactly. I don't know how old Wolju was at that time, but like...
Yeah, they don't ever
I feel like she was like 17 or something. I don't know. She looks young.
Yeah, I assume she was like between 16 and 18 or something. Like old enough to get pregnant, obviously. But she looks so young.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw that girl on the street, I would be like, yeah, you're a high school student. Like,
definitely.
I mean, I don't know how old the actress is, but anyway.
All right, episode 2. Kang-bae isn't sure he wants to work with Wolju, but he does want to help his neighbor, a woman who is plagued by guilt from her past. Oh, sad episode.
Oh, I know.
Wolju is very intense, super mean to the lady with cancer. These are your notes. I'm reading.
Yeah.
But that lady is also fucked up. So essentially what happens is Kangbei's got a neighbor, an older woman, and her daughter's getting married. Mm-hmm. And the older woman is saying, like, she's allergic to makeup, which is strange to be allergic to all makeup, but whatever.
Yeah, her daughter's like, no, this shouldn't give you an allergic
reaction. But the mother is also very sick with cancer. The daughter doesn't know. And Kangbei likes this woman. She's always been sweet to him, so he wants to help her. And we come to find out after he touches her and she starts talking that basically she owned like a small restaurant or whatever, and a young, beautiful girl came to help, and this guy started coming in, and this now older woman at the time thought that this guy was into her, and she was always flirting with him and wearing tons of makeup. And later on, I mean, it's obvious to us, the viewer watching, that he's not at all into her. He's just being friendly. When in fact he's interested in the girl that she hired. And then it comes out that they were getting married and they were pregnant, and she kind of loses it in a really bad way and lies to him, saying, like, you think the baby's yours? Like, you haven't even been here for a while. You don't know what she was doing when you weren't here.
Oh, yeah, because he's a truck driver.
Yeah, and so this guy, instead of having a fucking conversation with the girl who is pregnant with his child.
Oh, the baby's already born at this point.
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah. So he fucking, like, flips out on her. He tells her he's leaving her. Doesn't even really have a conversation. He basically just accuses her of sleeping with somebody else and that the baby's not his. He doesn't tell her how he heard this or how he supposedly found this out or whatever, as far as I remember. So he leaves, she chases after him, and that woman is, like, on her way. I guess she goes to apologize also, realizing, like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah, because she was drunk at the time.
Yeah, but then at that point, fucking Kaitlyn's fear, a car comes and hits this woman, and she dies. Yeah. And this woman is haunted ever since. She takes the baby as her own, which ends up being the now grown woman who's getting married. And now that she's dying with cancer, she wants to tell her daughter, but she's scared to tell her daughter. She's been living with this forever. She wants her daughter to meet her father, who is somewhere out there, but she hasn't been able to find him. Yeah. And they end up finding him, and he, like, has amnesia or some shit. I forgot what happened to him.
I think he also got into, like, a car accident or something.
Something happened. And
like, shortly after he ran away. And so he doesn't remember, like, that he was married with a baby and stuff like that. Yeah, because also, like, the young woman is, I think, also an orphan. So basically, like, the older woman is, like, all she has, so that's why.
Yeah, she takes the baby. Yeah, and at first it kind of seemed like she was treating the woman kind of like as her daughter, as her own, like giving her a job and stuff and helping her, but very quickly turned on her when a man came around.
Yes, well, I think she was also, like, a widow or something. Yes. I don't remember. Like, she was lonely, but yeah, she did not.
Terrible way to treat a friend.
Yeah, for sure. And I had some notes, like, obviously, like, that story was wild, but I just feel weird, like, I feel like her daughter just should have known the story, and, like, if she wanted to reach out to the dad, like, yeah, but I just feel like it's weird, like, kind of forcing that relationship,
forcing this man into her life that she doesn't know at all.
Yeah, like, it's just really awkward. It's when they met, it just looked awkward. I think it was, like, maybe at the funeral, right? And it's just like,
hi, Dad.
Yeah, and she's, like, grieving her mother, or you know, the woman who raised her, and it's like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
If it were me, I'd be like, I don't really want to talk to you right now. I have my own shit going on.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Give me your email. Give me your phone number. I'll be in touch if I want to. Like, sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, that was the episode where I was like, holy shit, okay. I'll keep watching.
Yeah.
That was intense.
Yeah, I feel like episode 1 is just kind of like
Meeting
eases
people.
you in. Yeah, and then episode 2 you're like, oh shit, these are some wild stories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, episode 3. Wolju attacks a rotten system that's thrown her latest customer into despair. Kongbei makes contact with an unusual woman. My comments on this were just like very short. It just says, I wish I could fight, and if I were that guy, I would have given up on working there. But
oh yeah, that poor guy.
Yeah, essentially this is the one. There's also a semi-similar situation in The Uncanny Encounter, but it's this guy who cannot get a job, basically. Well, he cannot get a job at the place where he wants to work. I think this is like his third try, maybe. So like, and in Korea, you have to take a test, and then you have to do an interview. And yeah, he's basically just like dedicated the past few years of his life to getting this one specific job. And his reasoning is like, I don't want to get a job that I don't want, because then I'll get burnt out and like I won't try for other things. And I'm like, no, dude, you can settle. But anyway, it's basically he wants to work at this fancy hotel. And
he's highly qualified for it. Like, yes. He's worked very hard.
Yes, he knows everything, but the, upper management essentially are just like hiring people, like hiring the children of like
well-off
quote
people,
unquote, yeah, important people. So like politicians, other CEOs of whatever. So yeah,
and people that don't even care.
Right.
People that in the interview were just like real shitty. Yeah, not qualified, didn't care. They were just there because they knew they were going to get the job. This was just
as
like
a formality.
Yeah, they had to go to the interview.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when they go into like the dream world and Kongbei is like also one of the interviewees. And they're like, introduce yourself in English. And he was like, hello, I'm Kongbei.
And then every time the guy that they're helping would talk, he'd be like, wow. He'd just look at the people interviewing and just kind of clap, like, did you hear him?
Yeah, like, he's so good. Whoa. Yeah. Because, I mean, yeah, like, that guy was just, like, killing it. But, yeah, I don't know why. Because I feel like that actor can speak, like, decent English. He was just kind of, like, playing it. But, yeah, it was just like, hello, I'm Kongbei. Just, like, or, like, pleasure to meet you. And you? Like, he just knows that, like, phrase. He didn't stop to whatever.
It's, like, my very limited Korean knowledge. I just know how to say twitchy. Just call Edie a little pig.
Just the most random words.
I know.
Yeah.
That and just, like, random little phrases. That's all I know. That's all I remember. Shitty.
Yeah, I have, like, my notebooks still. Every now and then I look over them, but I'm like, oh, man.
Again, no time. No fucking time.
No time. But, yeah, and then I thought it was just, like, with the main guy, the grudge holder or whatever. It was just so sad, like, him feeling bad about his girlfriend and, like, just, like, a total shitty situation in general. Like, because obviously they love each other, but, he feels bad and he feels like she deserves better. I can, like, understand that feeling of, like, he's not living up to, like, his end of the bargain or whatever. And, like,
and it doesn't help when her mom is, like, meeting him and saying, basically, you're not good enough for her. Yeah. You need to let her go. And it's sad because she is obviously so in love with him, and she doesn't care about what his job situation is right now or anything. Like, I'm sure eventually that might kind of get frustrating if he doesn't have any money.
Right.
But, like, right now, she understands what he's going through, and she was just trying to be helpful and be there, be a supportive partner to him and stuff. And then when he tells her he's breaking up with her or they need to break up, it's like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, guy. Like,
work at a different hotel.
Yeah, I know. That's when I was like, dude, yeah, work at a different hotel and we'll see what happens. But thankfully, Wolju and everyone, like, exposes how shitty those people are. And, like, the HR people are like, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
Here's a job. But yes, this is also where we're introduced to Yorin. And she just kicks ass, basically.
Yeah.
But we also see that she has a conscience, because she, like, goes to her supervisor and is like, I don't want to work for this asshole anymore. Like, he sucks. And
then she lets Kangbae get away with the incriminating
evidence
drive. Yeah.
Yeah, but her supervisor was like, basically just like, shut up. You're lucky to have a job. Like, you have a job that, like, pays well, so
just keep working.
Yeah. Like,
just ignore all the fuckery happening.
Yeah.
And just protect. All right, episode 4. At an event held in the afterlife, Kangbae meets a man who's determined to win the prize. Lottery ticket numbers for his living descendant. Oh my God, can somebody win that for me in the afterlife, please? I really love how they do this.
Yes.
It's really funny to me that, like, the idea is your ancestors are playing fucking, like, little games to get you the winning lottery. To win you the lottery numbers. I think that's great. That's such a weird way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this show because it has, like, cute little, I don't know, afterlife, like bureaucracy
like the afterlife
stuff.
Isn't all sad. We're playing games too. And eating good food.
Yeah. But oh my God, that, like, nobleman. Oh, I forgot to write him down. Did you recognize him? The cheater nobleman guy? I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me, like, make sure I'm not fucking this up. But okay. Filling for time. I hated him, obviously. Like, he was really mean and a cheater. But he's also, like, kind of one of those cameo guys that is in a bunch of stuff. But I'm pretty sure he played, like, the old version of the brother in Reply 1988.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Do you remember that?
I remember that guy, but I'm not, like, my brain isn't putting 2 and 2 together. Those two characters as being the same person, same actor.
Maybe I fucked up. Hold on. He's just in so much stuff. Okay, he's definitely in some of the things I've seen before. Maybe he wasn't that guy. Well, who's the guy in Reply 1988? Reply. Okay, you can keep talking while I Google this.
So this episode has quite a few twists and turns. We have that thing happening, and the good dude that's, like, doing really well in the competition and really wants to win, he is trying to win the lottery ticket numbers for a friend of Kangbae who works with him at the market. I forgot that guy's name, but he's, like, in every shot at the market.
Yeah, he's a sweetie pie.
Yeah, very sweet. He lives with his grandma, and his grandma has, I think, back issues. And he really wants to get her surgery for her back so she feels better, but they don't really have any money. And so his ancestor wins the lottery numbers for him and sends them to him in a dream. And he wakes up the next morning, he writes the numbers down, and he already has the feeling like, I need to go get a ticket for this. But then they find out in the afterlife, game section that Death is there, and on the list for tomorrow for his pickups is that guy, the kid.
Uh-huh.
And Kangbei's like, what the fuck? He's gonna die? And then the ancestor hears, and he's like, what? Like, no.
Yeah, like,
I don't want
already
him to die.
won.
Yeah, he's so young. He doesn't deserve to die. He shouldn't be dying right now. What's happening? Mm-hmm. And I think he was also, it seems like he was supposed to get hit by a car or something. I don't know. Like, the time was like some
accident.
Yeah, I imagine like a car accident at some point, because it's always a car accident. But they figure out we can save him from dying if someone gives... What did they need to give again? What was it called?
They had to exchange, like, good deeds,
yes.
Or whatever.
Yes. And so they were trying to find some woman or something that has good deeds on her.
Oh, but because she had to be related to him, too.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And so this is where we get into the part... Andrew did not watch this drama at all. He never came in for anything. But there was one scene in this episode where they go to like the afterlife registry place, and they're asking for information on some woman. And the girl at the front desk is like, oh, we don't have any of that stuff on paper anymore. Everything's been digitalized. We got a new employee a few months back, and he computerized everything. And then the camera pans to this fucking white dude in a black turtleneck with glasses and a fucking apple on his desk. And I told Andrew about it, and Andrew was like, oh, fuck off. Why? And he started talking about whoever the other guy is from Apple.
Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, he's like, Steve Wozniak, the one that did all the fucking work anyway. He just like went on this long rant about how stupid it was. And he didn't even watch it, but I'm sure if he watched it, he would have died even more. Like... It was such a dumb scene. So silly to include.
Yes. Like, they just, like, had to throw in these, like, really cheesy little cameos or whatever. Like, because they also, like, when they show Wolju, like, setting up her bar, like, they have, like, MacArthur, like, General.
Oh, yes. So stupid.
And, like, all these, like, people from history that just happen to be in Wolju's little
so
bar.
dumb. Oh, my God.
So, my research was right.
Cool,
He did play... Remember, you were like, he looks so fucking old when the
yes.
guy came in. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It was that guy.
Well, anyway, they get the good deeds from the woman. They save the friend. And then the numbers don't work anymore.
Yes.
They had to give them up. And that woman actually comes to, like, visit, and she... fixes the grandmother's back too.
Yes,
which is very sweet. Yeah,
because I guess the grandmother like really helped out the like spirit woman, and it was just like really sweet, like seeing them together, and she just kind of like
rubbed her back a little bit.
Her back, and they were catching up and stuff. But yeah, kind of a bummer. The lottery numbers didn't work.
Yeah, sad. All those games for nothing.
At least he got to save his great-great-grandson, and the grandma's back got fixed.
Yeah. So she doesn't need the money for surgery anymore.
Yes. Exactly. Anything else from this one?
Nothing else I can remember.
Okay. I just said love Wolju's looks. Again, her... she just has such great, like, modern handboks. Like,
yes,
they're so cool and pretty. She pulls them off so well. And just, like, her regular clothes also. Very cool. Okay, episode 5. Wolju and Kui Banjang chase after a wayward spirit who has a problem moving on. Kangbae asks Kang Yorin to be his partner for a dance contest. Okay, this one was fucking sad. So in this one, the main grudge or whatever. Okay, I think the like afterlife people are like, help us out catching the spirit because like she won't come. So basically what it is there's a guy who like works a lot, and his wife died, but he also has dementia. So, like, him seeing her ghost, he thinks that she's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
But she is, like, sticking around to help him because, like, he has dementia. So he, like, forgets, like, the entry code to his apartment, and he, like, gets off at the wrong bus stops and just, like, you know, can't remember stuff. And it's just, like, really sad to, like, when his boss basically tells him, because he keeps fucking up at work, and so he gets called into his boss's office, and they're like, you know, we gave you some slack because we know this was really hard for you, but, and then he's like, wait, what? Like, my wife died? And then he starts remembering stuff, and it's just, like, so heartbreaking, and, like, his wife is there, and anyway, like, the little trio, they, like, help him get set up, or whatever, like, they start the wheels in motion so that he has a place to go and
to be taken care of.
Yes, and, like, the wife can see him off, and she makes the dumplings for him. But, like, the scene where he's just, like, holding her picture crying, it just killed me. I was like, fuck, that's so sad. It's basically like you keep grieving over and over again because you, like, don't remember, and then you learn. It's like, fuck, that's so sad.
Yeah, and I think at first they... Okay, Edie. Oh my god, why? I think at first they kind of set it up to where they try to make you think that it's his mother that died and is the spirit. And then there's a scene where, like, the wife is telling him goodbye, and she's, like, going to go on a trip. She's going to go somewhere, and he sends her off. And, I mean, that interaction was, like, kind of weird and staticky. Like, I don't know, the way they talked to each other and the way they interacted seemed like a weird couple. But then we find out later it's because she was actually the one that died. Like, the grandmother or the mother had already died, like, long ago.
Yeah.
A while back. And then the wife died. I don't know. It was a sad one for sure.
Yes. But then, like, on the lighter side, Kang-bae is, like, dealing with the Yorin situation. Yeah, and, like, they just have, like, such an awkward beginning because, you know, obviously, like, they've both never really dated before because of their own, like, spiritual world.
Or touched.
Hindrances, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're just, like, so awkward at the beginning. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's kind of going on with Kang-bae.
Yeah, that kind of balances out the sadness because we have that goofiness happening along with the death.
Oh, I also just wanted to say, like, I also think it's interesting how, like, Wolju, like, will act based on her, like, past life experiences, like, the grudges that she holds from, like, how people wronged her. And so, like, if she sees that, she'll, like, step up and, like, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Fight. Almost to, like, relieve her own past of, like, no, well, we'll get to it later, but, like, the moment where she's like, no one fucking helped me ever. Yeah. And I have to help all these people. Like, oh, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's part of what happens, too, with the mother early on, the one that has cancer, and she's being an asshole to her, and she's like, you fucking made a woman get killed.
Yeah.
And left a child motherless, and then you basically, like, stole that child, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, I don't know. Ugh.
Rough.
Yeah. Okay, episode 6. Kang-bae and Yorin start taking dance lessons that are super awkward.
Yeah.
When their instructor reveals a heartbreaking personal struggle, Wolju has an idea for a solution. So they are doing these lessons, and the lessons are not going super well. Yorin is pretty good. Kang-bae is kind of all over the place. He is struggling, and the instructor's like, you need to practice more.
Yeah.
You need to, like, come an extra 30 minutes or an extra hour or whatever. Like, I need one-on-one time with you to help you. And then it's revealed that the instructor secretly has been dealing with infertility issues.
Mm-hmm.
She and her husband, they've been trying to have a kid forever, and it never works out. I think she had, like, miscarriages, too.
Yeah.
And they're trying, like, I guess, IVF stuff, and nothing is working, and it's ruining their relationship, essentially. And the husband is like, if we can't have a kid, like, it's fine. I just want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
But for her, she feels like that means she's broken, or there's something wrong with her. And other people all around her are having kids, or asking her when she's going to have a kid, and she's embarrassed to say, well, I fucking can't. You know,
she feels like a failure because she also really genuinely wants to like be a mom.
And she keeps pushing her husband away because of that, and they're having issues. And I think Wolju feels this very strongly and wants to help this woman conceive a child. And then we find out there's a fucking woman who basically has a claw machine with babies that
the conception dreams.
Yeah, and she, like, puts them in their dreams, and that's how they have a kid. And that happens with Kangbei. Like, he has a dream, and it ends up being a quote-unquote conception dream. But it's one of the guys he works with. His wife calls and says that she's pregnant or whatever. And so Wolju tries to talk to this woman about getting one of those little conception dreams from the claw machine so she can help this woman. And the lady's like, no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's not how this works. It's not their time. But Wolju is, like, insistent. So they fucking sneak in there in the middle of the night when she's knocked out, farting in bed. And then... and then they're able to get one. I think they end up getting two, actually.
I think they get three.
Three, okay.
Yeah.
They end up getting, like, way too fucking many. And the woman ends up waking up, seeing a fucking mess in the claw machine room, and she knows exactly what happened. She finds them in the woman's dream, and they're trying to get her to get one of the little claw machine balls. And, like, chaos and comedy ensue of this woman trying to stop it. But finally, the woman catches one. And all is well.
Yes.
But, oh my god.
Yeah.
A fucking claw machine.
I know, like, at the beginning, it's, like, kind of foreshadowed because Wolju and Kwibanjang are, like...
Yes.
basically kick a little kid off a claw machine.
Yeah, chubby little kid.
Yeah, he was so cute.
And he was getting all pissed, too, because they couldn't even win anything.
Yeah. But... yeah, had you ever heard, like, the concept of conception dreams? So, my mom, supposedly my conception dream was that my mom had a dream that she was working at a hotel. I don't know if she was actually working at the hotel at the time, because she had worked at a hotel at some point in her life. So the dream was that she was, I guess, at the hotel, and there were, like, snakes everywhere, like... in the lobby and stuff. And she told that to my Korean grandma, and my grandma was like, you're pregnant. Like, that's a... basically, she's like, that's a conception dream. Like, you're pregnant. And my mom was like, no, I'm not. And turns out she was.
What makes it a conception dream?
I don't know. like, I guess there are, like, certain symbols or whatever that, like, will pop up in dreams, and... because, yeah, people will say, like, oh, what was your conception dream? Like, what did your mom or dad dream about? That, like, whatever. So I don't know how you can pinpoint what it was. But, yeah, my mom thought it was so weird. Because my mom was like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. And
then she was.
Yeah, and then it ended up being true. So, I don't know. Very strange.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I liked how how even before, like, she gets pregnant, her and her husband kind of reconcile.
Yes.
She's like, I've been kind of an asshole about
yeah,
this.
she, like, goes to eat at the pop-up bar, and then she brings food home to him and, like, wine and stuff. Because she left in the middle of the night, all upset. We haven't done that in a while.
All upset, yeah.
Side note, I love a claw machine. I get obsessed with them. I get so excited when I see them. And Andrew and I went to the Embassy mini golf place last weekend, I think. Because Cool Crest was closed, which is unfortunate. But we went there, and then when we were leaving, they had skee ball and they had other shit. And then I saw a claw machine. I got excited. And I saw this one weird green little, like, dinosaur platypus. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I put the money in. It fucking picked that little baby up and started moving it. And then it dropped it. And I got so mad because the claw had such a good grip on this fucking doll. And I was like, I need this doll now. And then I did it again. And it brought it all the way to the edge of, like, the opening and dropped it right on the plastic. So it got stuck again.
Oh, my God.
And then it fucking ate my money. And then I went to the car and I was like, wait, no, there's quarters in the car. I'm going to go one more time. And so I went again and then I got it. And I was like, okay, it only took like $4. Yes.
Oh, good.
So it's like sitting on our table right now. It's like, I just really wanted this stupid doll that I don't even know what it is.
I think I saw that when I went over to your house. And
yeah, that's what it was.
I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
Yes, it was my prize.
Okay. Yeah, just based on the dramas, and I think Alex and I saw them when we were in Korea. They're like little mini arcades where it's like just claw machines.
Nice, that's exciting.
Yeah,
I love a claw machine. Oh my God,
so good. I think it's funny also that the like Samshin or whatever that lady was called, like she has to win the conception
in order to give them to people.
Yeah, so weird.
She just wanted to play a game, that's all.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, yeah, I just said, well, you don't give a fuck about the rules.
Nope. Act now, ask for forgiveness later, or say oops.
Yep, or say oops.
Whoops.
Yeah, the big peach at the end.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Okay. Anything else from that? I think that was...
Yeah, nothing else from me.
Okay. So episode 7. Oh, okay. So yeah, at the very end, I think, like, they're feeling good, but then the bar gets taken away. Is that right?
Oh, yes, because...
at the end of this one?
I think it's at the end of the other one, because they took the conception thingies, and they got in trouble for that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes. So tasked by Ra-dae-wang with fixing an afterlife slip-up, Wolju, Kwibanjang, and Kangbae devise a plan that hinges on victory at the dance contest. Yes, okay. So this one, I thought this one was kind of funny too.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the bar gets taken away from them at the end because Wolju broke the rules and that grudge didn't get to count towards her quota because she broke the rules. So basically they're doing community service hours like in the afterlife. And we kind of see the process of like how people get sentenced. So basically you like go in front of a panel, they like review your life, and then they kind of grade you on like how you'll be reincarnated. And then you like after that, then you like walk through the like whatever. Do they call it like
fleshes? I think so. It like fleshes your memory of your current life.
Yeah. And then whatever you get sent on your way. But in this instance, the like devil lady kind of fucked up somewhere along the way because a spirit got loose. Like he didn't go through the like thing that erased his memory. So he has like all of his past life issues like still inside of him. He gets sentenced to be reincarnated as a chicken. And when as far as a chicken goes, it seems like those chickens were in a decent spot in terms of like they had what seemed to be a nice little owner guy. But anyway, he takes over that guy's body. Who conveniently happens to be the chairman of the mart where Kangbae works. So, I thought it was really funny when Kwibanjang goes and starts talking to the chickens.
Oh my God. That's right. And Kangbae's just like, what?
Yeah, Kangbe's like freaked out. Oh, because he touches the chicken. Because
to find out what he saw.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't fucking speak chicken.
Yeah.
So when the other guy starts doing it.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, so stupid.
Like, he did what? He said what? Like, they're just like, the chickens are being all like chisme or whatever. But anyway, so essentially they're like, okay, Kangbae will, because in the past the like chairman or whatever, CEO is like, you win money if you win the dance contest, and also like I'll grant you each a wish. And so Kangbae is like, I'll ask to drink with him, that way we can go into the dream world, blah 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 blah. So thankfully they end up winning. And
side note,
it all works out.
Yorin's wish is like the worst wish ever. I wish to work here forever. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like it's better than, I don't know. I guess that you would feel stressed out just having like a contract, like temp job, but
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, other ones were like, I got sent on vacation. Or,
yeah, like
he paid for whatever. I mean, I guess that's an investment, getting a full-time job, but
still,
yeah,
I would have felt long and hard about a good one-off wish.
Yes. I also feel sad because I feel like Kangbae wasted his wish too.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
but he seemed happy to do so.
Yeah, they got the job done. But also, I would have been like, can you please buy me a new computer or whatever. So yeah, all of that works out, but also so the issue with the guy, like his original spirit, like he had like a gambling problem, and he like gets to learn that his friend isn't the one who like stole him out, and he's basically just like a big asshole.
Yeah.
Original guy, and whatever, he got to leave knowing the full situation and like helping his friend. Basically. So anything else? Oh, there is that moment where Wolju, they're in the like afterlife or whatever, and Wolju is looking through like the directory of like past life like reincarnations or whatever, and I was like, dang, I would want to look through all of those. Like,
yeah, so she was staring at the royal family book.
Yeah. Ooh, so close. Anyway, I think that would be really interesting to see what people got reincarnated as.
All the people you knew. Okay, number 8. A haunted apartment turns out to be occupied by a dead web novelist with a sad real-life love story. Kangbae mopes over romantic woes of his own. So essentially, there's an apartment that is seemingly unoccupied, but the woman can't rent it out because every time people come to look at it, there's like haunting noises and like talking, and nobody wants to rent the place. Yeah. So this woman asks Kangbae if he wants to rent a new place. This place is bigger than your own place. Like, this is cheaper, blah, blah, blah. So he goes to look at it, and he clearly hears a woman saying to get out and to leave, go away, blah, blah, blah. And so he knows there's a ghost in there. And he's like, oh, shit, okay. So he lets his buddies know. And they're like, okay, maybe we can solve this and get a grudge point. So they go and they find this girl. And essentially she was a web novelist, but it was kind of more on the, I guess, more naughty side of web noveling.
Yeah, it was like 19 plus.
Yeah. And so she went by like a pseudonym, and eventually we find out that she also has some heart conditions. So she's taking medication. She doesn't really leave her house much, and she always gets stuff delivered. So she meets the delivery guy, and she starts to fall for him. And they're flirty and stuff. She always makes him food or gets drinks for him. And eventually they start dating. Things are great. And he comes to pick her up one day for their date and comes in, and she's on the phone talking about a book she's writing, but he doesn't know that. And she's kind of using their story as slight inspiration, but changing it up. And basically saying, like, the girl is totally uninterested in him. She's just using him. He's clingy and boring and stuff. And he hears that. He gets all upset. He leaves all pissed off. Doesn't talk to her about it.
Dad.
He doesn't talk to her about it. Just fucking leaves. And while she's on the phone, she's saying, but then, like, the girl realizes how much she loves him and how great he is, and they end up together, blah, blah, blah. And then she comes out, he's not there. And she's like, he should be here already. Where the fuck is he? He never shows up again. He never contacts her. She's trying to get a hold of him, and she
changes his number.
And then like, he changes his route, too, so he doesn't have to deliver things to her. So she's, like, constantly ordering things in the hopes that he'll come and she can talk to him. And even in her death, like, things are getting delivered, and he's not the one coming. And she ends up dying from her heart issue. We don't really know what happens exactly. Part of me honestly wonders if she, like, took too many pills or something.
Yeah,
she was,
I think
I don't know.
I think just says heart attack.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she seemed to be, like, doing fine with her medication and was, like, doing well. I don't know how serious her thing was or, like, if it was changing. But
yeah.
So she can't find him, and it's their job to find him, get him there. They kind of figure the whole thing out. He sits there all sad now, trying to talk to her. Can't actually see her, but they're kind of just relaying the messages. Yeah, and so it finally gets straightened out, and I hope that guy feels like a real shithead. Because he didn't fucking talk to her again.
And then she died.
Yeah, he could have just waited until she was done and came out and been like, why'd you say those things about me?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
What was that about?
Yeah, like, have a conversation, man. And Kangbei does that later on. Like, there's a moment where Death, whose body has been taken over, tries to convince Kangbei that the two of them don't care about him. And they're just using him to help with the grudges and the points. And then he overhears them kind of saying something. But instead of running away, he opens the door and is like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Like, he confronts them. Good. Talk to them.
But then he also is like...
He also runs away.
I don't care what you have to say.
He also runs away, but at least he went in for a second and heard them out a little bit. Like, Jesus.
So frustrating. But yeah. In the end, they get their points. Everyone's... I mean, the guy's doing as best he can, I guess, at this point.
The girl's still dead, but...
Yeah, but at least she gets to leave, like, knowing that...
That he knows.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 9. Oh, and then episode 8, I think Kangbei's just sad because he thought Yorin liked him, but she's pushing him away because she has her own issues of like whatever. What did they call her? Like the like first date something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what she's called, but basically she scares men after they have contact with her. Yeah. They get like a weird feeling and they feel very uncomfortable and frightened. And she makes them not want to touch people.
Yeah, she's like spooky.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 9. While seeing a way to keep her end of the deal with Kangbei, Wolju comes up against a hellish decision. Yongbu-chang stirs up trouble. Okay. So yeah, this is where we see the freaking bad guy from the past. He's now in the real world, and he like confronts his dad, who we learn is like the death guy in white. And I was like, there's some serious nepotism going on there, because like he should have just taken him down right then and there.
And also, okay, this is maybe one plot point where I was kind of like, ain't no one gonna say nothing? Because the son is on the run. He's an evil spirit. They should know about that in the afterlife. He's the one that death is going after. Why doesn't the woman in red, whose name I can't really pronounce, with the hair, she knows who he is. She knows the story. Why is she not telling, what's her name about it? Wolju and that other guy.
I think, like, they mention, like, they don't want to distract her from, like, making her quota. But yeah, they should have at least warned her. Like,
and also knowing that Death, the guy who is Death, is also the father.
Yeah.
Like, why are they having him, the father, find his son?
Yeah.
Like, that don't make no sense. Yeah, that's... No.
Mm-hmm.
When you're related to someone, even in death...
You gotta be taken off the case.
Yeah, you gotta get someone else in there. That don't make no sense. And then you gotta let the people know, because obviously, like, this guy's got problems. 500 years later, he's still being a little bitch. And, like, wanting to get revenge. Like, I don't know. That was the only real part of the show that frustrated me, is the fact that nobody felt the need to tell these two people who were involved 500 years later. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, they should have at least been like, I don't know, because then, whatever, Kwiban-chan could have been on the lookout when he noticed that Death was, like, acting weird.
Especially since he was, like, the high-ranking officer or whatever in catching spirits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that was his job, and he was really fucking good at it. So if they were to have told him, he could have been on the lookout and probably could have fixed things easier and quicker, but I guess that wouldn't make for good TV. So
yes. Very true. Okay. I think is this the episode also where they realize that Kangbae, like because in the last episode he starts to see spirits and they're like, oh shit, like his spiritual vision or whatever has been opened too much. And so Wolju realizes, like, oh, she can't turn it off the way she thought she could, because it turned out she'd done that in the past and she, like, really fucked up. So they, like, made it a rule that you can't do that anymore. And so now she's, like, trying to figure out a way to save him. Is this the episode where they're like, she agrees to basically go to hell for him? Or
I think it's the next episode.
Okay. So they're still trying to figure out how to help him. But the thing with the grudge, so Kangbae sees a woman who is, like, handing out flyers, like have you seen my son or whatever. And this was another fucking, like, gross story, basically. So essentially, the woman, like, in the past has a young child. I think her husband dies, so she's, left to be a single mom. And she's working at a restaurant, and this, like, regular keeps coming in and is like, hey, like, let's date. And she's like, I don't have time for you. Fuck off, basically. Like, I don't like you. Even if I did like you, my priority is my son. So he steals her son. Well, basically, he just tries to get rid of her son so that he's like, well, if he's out of the picture, then you can have me.
Stupid.
And it's, like, so
fucking
dumb.
Delusional.
Yes, that guy has issues. So basically, he, like, takes him to an orphanage and whatever. But as this is all happening, Death has been possessed by the bad guy from the past, his son. And so he, like, the trio kind of share their information with him, just, like, chatting about it. And so he's, like, kind of always one step ahead of their clues. And so he keeps, like, trying to interfere and, like, thwart their plans, basically. But they're all good. It turns out the kid, I think he was, like, living in America or something.
He was. And also really sick. He needs, like a new kidney or something.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, it'll work out because the mom might be a match. So.
And they saved everything and figured it out just in time. The evil spirit attacked the man, and he was, like, on the verge of death. But they got the information right before he died. And then I think this is also the episode where that guy, the spirit, is trying to tell Kangbei that they're just using him for his powers and stuff. That's when he overhears them, gets into that argument, and later on, it kind of gets cleared up and he's okay. And he's walking with, what's that guy's name? Hwang Jung-eum?
Yeah.
Hwang Jung-eum, yeah. Yeah, and you can say the next part of the ending.
Oh, yeah. So, there was a scene. So, throughout the show, it keeps going back and forth between, like, the prince back in the day. And so, like, on Twitter, people kept talking about, like, who is the prince, basically? Like, did the prince get reincarnated into Kangbei? Or is the prince Kwipanjang? And so, like, at the very end, they're both making, like, the same little, like, moon outline with their fingers. And everyone on Twitter was like, who is it? I don't remember who I thought it was. I'm pretty sure I thought it was the older guy. Like, there are more clues. I think that it's him.
Yeah, also because they're kind of making him and Wolju kind of like they could be interested in each other.
Yeah.
Or there are jokes about them being married or being together versus her and Kangbei.
Yes.
Is this also the episode where the woman comes up to them and is like, your highness or whatever?
I think that's the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of everything. Oh, yeah, I think this is so in the middle of it, yeah, Kangbei, like, recalls, like, how shitty his life has been, and we see, his, like, little
Well,
sad...
I think it is at the end of this one, because Ten says the appearance of a face from the past.
End.
Yeah, very end. The two of them are, like, talking and having a fucking great time, and some woman is like, Your Highness, I finally found you. Yes, and they both turn around like, the fuck?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the camera, like, pans to her face all excited, and then it shows, like, each of their faces, and you're like, the fuck? Who is it? Who's she talking to?
Yeah. You're right. Okay. But yes, I think it is in this episode where Wolju does make the deal, because in the next episode is when Death is, like, trying to get her to win more cases because he wants her to go to hell.
Yeah.
I don't know when Kangbei figures this out, but yeah, I think episode 9 is where Wolju makes the deal to...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so 10. The appearance of a face from the past dredges up cruel memories for Guibanjang and Wolju. Kangbei saves Yoren from a hurtful situation. So yeah, we start off with the woman at, like, a cafe, and we finally see who she's talking to, and it's Guibanjang, and she's basically telling him that she was in some type of an accident, and she had a concussion of some sort, and when she woke up, she suddenly remembered her past life. And remembered that she used to be a queen, there's a prince, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, how did you know it was me? And she's like, I think she said, like, she felt his energy or some fucking bullshit, I don't know.
And she was like, and you look like your father.
Yes. So they're kind of talking, and he's remembering things that have happened in the past. But it's also just, like, kind of uncomfortable and weird. Basically, and he's telling her, like, well, I mean, you're a different person now. Go back to being that fashion designer. Like, you're not my mother. I'm not that person either anymore. Like, you need to go. Move on. It's fine. And then on the opposite end, Yorin still isn't taking to Kangbei. Like, she's still trying to push him away. And then there's a moment at the mart where she is doing security. She's kind of standing near the entrance, and a couple comes in, or a guy comes in first, and he's like, Yoren, is that you? And we realize it's one of the guys she dated before who got scared of her. And then his partner comes, his wife, girlfriend, I don't know who she is, And she's like, who's this? And he's like, remember that spooky girl I told you about that made me not want to touch people anymore? This is her. And the girlfriend was like, ugh, that's the spooky girl. We like, what the fuck, you assholes? And he was like, I never wanted to touch anyone after her until you fixed me. And they were just like giggling and staring at her. And Kang-bae witnesses this, and he goes up to them and he's like, what's happening? And it's uncomfortable, and the guy's like, oh, I just saw, like, I hadn't seen her in so long. And he's like, okay. And he grabs her hand, saying, like, this is my girlfriend, and what you said was very mean, and you need to apologize. And that guy, like, gets super nervous and scared immediately, and the girlfriend is just like, you should say sorry. And she's just so nervous and uncomfortable, and it's super, super awkward. What kind of a person does that?
Yeah.
So shitty. So shitty. Like, I get if somebody weirded you out, and I mean, she has these weird powers, so like she's gonna do that. But still, you don't need to tell her.
Yeah, not to her face.
You don't need to stand in front of her and talk about how weird and spooky she is. Like, you didn't even need to say hi to her. You're just being a fucking asshole. Yeah. Just pretend you don't know her and then secretly tell your girlfriend, like, remember that fucking weirdo? That's her. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be an asshole about it in her face.
Totally.
Ugh. Jesus. I think also in this episode, the woman follows the mother from the new life, follows Guibanjang to the pop-up bar. And she sees him, like, having a great time with Yoren and Kang-bae. And then she realizes, or not Yoren, Wolju. And then she realizes Wolju is Wolju from 500 years ago. And she's like, oh, she's here. They're together. And she feels good about that because she realizes how shitty she was back then and wants to make things right. So she goes into the fucking pop-up bar, and Wolju recognizes her immediately because for some reason she got the same face. No one else has the same face, but she's got the same face. That's another thing that bothers me.
Yes, this is a real freaking goblin. Like, why do some people have the same face? Why do some people have different faces? I was like, how come Wolju and Guibanjang have aged in the afterlife?
Yeah.
But the bad guy has not.
Yeah, because she hasn't, like, she's just been living in the real world, in the living realm, doing this fucking job. Like, why didn't she stay the same? Yeah. It don't make no sense.
Yeah, I guess maybe because I don't know, because, like, it doesn't make sense. They just needed new actors, and you just can't think about it too hard. But
yeah, I know. But just imagine being reincarnated with your exact same face. I don't know. Yeah. It's hardly reincarnation then, if you ask me. But she recognizes her, of course, and she's like, you fucking bitch. What are you doing in here? Like, she fucking flips out immediately.
Yeah, she's like, get out.
And then Guibanjang is like, no, this is a fashion designer. Like, I've been talking to her about such and such or whatever. And Wolju is just, like, not buying it. Like, she feels very uncomfortable. And she's like, I recognize this fucking face. But she's not telling people how she recognizes her or, like, what context.
Yeah. And, like, but Guibanjang is also like, you should go now. Please
leave. Because he knows, like, everything, almost everything. Yes. And so he's trying to damage control and make sure things don't get out of hand. He's just trying to help Wolju be successful because he feels he owes it to her. And then he gets after that woman again, saying, like, don't come here. You don't need to be here again. Like, I'm not your son. You don't need to take care of me. You don't need to do anything. Go. Ugh.
Yeah. But then, the deaf guy who is possessed by, like, his son goes to her again and is like, no, like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You can actually help. You can, like, kill two birds with one stone because Wolju has to do, like, the fixing people's grudges. So she can go into your memory, see what actually happened, and, like, she can fix your grudge of, like,
and they can be together.
Guilty. Yeah, and then they'll realize because he wants Wolju to get to the, like, 10,000 or 100,000 whatever mark, so she'll go to hell.
Yes.
He's flipped his like motive, or not motive, but he's you know, the strategy now. And she's like, oh, okay. Because also, like, in the past life, that guy used to be like one of the lords or whatever, like in the royal whatever party. So she goes again, and Wolju's like, she kind of like is describing, she
a similar situation.
Yeah, a similar situation, but makes it seem like it's her own like new thing. And so, of course, like we said, Wolju is like super empathetic and is like, well, fuck these people, like I'll I'll fix it. And then she like goes in and sees the memory, and she's like so close to like seeing what actually happened. But then Kui Ban-jang like pulls her out, and I'm like, I made a note about this, but I get like very frustrated by the trope of like, I am going to let this misunderstanding lie because I don't feel like I deserve for this person to understand me. Like, I deserve for them to be mad at me. And I'm like, maybe, but let that person make their own decision once they know the information. Like, and like, I get his reasoning of like, well, I couldn't just like come up to you the first time I saw you and been like, this is what happened. Because obviously, like, she wouldn't have wanted to hear it, but like, let her just stay in the memory then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this was a good opportunity for like the grudge to be settled and
for her to find out what actually happened.
That was very frustrating to me. I'm like, let her see. As the viewer, you also want to see like what actually happened.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, so yeah, they basically kick her out again, and then the fucking death guy like kills her because basically he's like, you know too much now, like,
and she realizes who he is too. And she was also kind of confused because he was making it seem like when that happened, they would be able to be together, and she's going to be saved, and they can be like together forever, blah blah. But then at that point, Gu Banjang is like, if she solves 100,000, she's going to go to hell. I'm trying to protect her from that. Like, you need to fuck off. And then she was like, why did he tell me that? But the other guy told me this. And then she started to feel a little bit weird about it. And that's when he comes and fucking kills her.
So sad.
And she was actually just a fashion designer. She wasn't like she was the queen, but like in a past life, like, I don't know.
She didn't really deserve that. Like,
no.
I get the like sentiment of like wanting to help again. Like, okay, but then yeah, like, I mean, her clothes were also really cool looking. So
I wonder if afterlife people would have a way to just like erase someone's memory. I mean, I'm sure the evil spirit didn't give a shit, and he's happy to kill anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
But if Gu Banjang could have just like thrown dust in her face to make her forget everything and just forget about her past life. Yeah, like, I don't know.
I'm sure. Should have written that in. Is there anything else from this one? I don't. Just
Yorin and Kangbei getting closer at this point.
Okay, yeah, because she like appreciates that he stuck up for her, and I think she also sees him in like other situations that prove he's a good person and whatever. Okay, so number 11, Yorin is mystified when a strange voice begins to prevent her from touching Kangbei. Wolju confronts new truths about Kui Banjang. So basically, this is when we realize that Yorin is the reincarnation of the cinnabar, which I have no idea what that is, but it's essentially a mystical rock, I guess, that in the olden times, people used to like take off little shavings, and it would help protect them from like evil spirits or like ward off stuff. But like as the episode progresses, we realize that the cinnabar like made themselves a human form. That human form fell in love with the bad guy, who was like the prince's best friend. He ends up using her. He basically kills her. And so now she has this grudge against men. But like because Yorin comes into the pop-up bar and she's like feeling weird about it, so Wolju helps. And that's when like instead of going into dream world, like she just pops up into like the old version. And I was like, I liked the way that they did this. Again, it's like kind of convenient how they're all connected, but it's also like an interesting way to like connect everybody.
And also part of Wolju going to hell is her being able to find out who the Cinnabar is to be able to save him. And so she finally finds out that it's her. And then she kind of makes it her mission to get them together and to get them to have like a beautiful romantic kiss so they can both be saved, essentially.
Yes. So to do that, Wolju has to like appease the Cinnabar so that she will stop telling Yorin to like not feel close to Kangbae. And I like the way they do it, like how she's like, you just needed a friend. Like when you break, like when men are jerks, you just need to like go out with your friends, drink, karaoke, like eat, and that solved it. But yeah, I liked how she like brought the other lady in. So yeah, so that gets settled, but then Wolju was like, wait, she's like starts connecting the dots. Because she realizes like that the guy that fucked over the Cinnabar is also the guy who she thought was on her side, but then she realizes like, oh, he's actually the one who did everything bad. She also realizes that Guibanjang is the prince.
Yeah, she kind of gets like a flood of memories of all the moments where he did or said something that was like kind of alluding to the fact that he was in fact the prince.
Yeah. And it's because she goes to the mart and is like, she overhears Kangbae using Guibanjang's lines. And that's when she's like, where'd you hear that? And he's like, whatever, Guibanjang. He's like, he told me that this used to work for him in the past. And then that's when she's like, oh fuck. And she basically tells him to get out.
And then also prior to that, she wasn't telling anyone about her contract to hell, and Kangbae found out, and then eventually he told Guibanjang, and Guibanjang freaked the fuck out, like, why are you doing this? You can't do this. We gotta figure out a way. And then he basically tells the woman in red, like, I will do it. I'll go to hell, so she doesn't have to. And the woman's like, are you fucking sure? The fuck? And he's like, yes, like, I owe it to her. I'm gonna do this. And so he tells Wolju, like, everything's solved, you're good, you're not going to hell. But he fails to mention that he's gonna go instead. So at this point, like, she's good to get her 100,000. And she's gonna be fine, and they just don't know about him yet.
So yeah, I think they end up meeting because they're kind of like on a break at the moment, but they end up meeting at his mom or whatever, the reincarnated queen's funeral service, and like they hash it out and they're good again, and she gets to wear the ring that he was going to give her
that she made fun of earlier.
Like
it was a necklace and ring. Like, who has those anymore?
I want a
so
diamond.
Funny.
But yeah, I think this is also where she learns, like, basically that he killed that guy. Like, he was basically just going along with everything until the right moment when he could exact his revenge. But yeah, so sad that he also kills himself in the same spot where Wolju did.
And also at the end of this episode, she's at the pop-up bar alone, and Guibanjang got called back to that woman's office, and Kangbae is like giving out flyers and stuff, and that guy, Death, who's actually the son, comes in, and they're kind of talking about the fact that the son was like shitty, basically. And she's like, I'm sorry you had such a bastard child. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, like, you're a good person and you had this shitty fucking kid and, like, there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm. And then he gets pissed off and she looks at him like, well, who the fuck are you? Mm-hmm. And then he starts choking her. Uh-huh. And it's super intense. And then Kang-bae conveniently is like, oh shit, I'm out of flyers. And so he goes back and then he sees her getting choked and he's trying to get him to stop. The guy pushes him away. We see Gu Banjong running really fast. Like someone finally fucking told him what was happening.
Yes.
And suddenly Kang-bae kind of transforms. Mm-hmm. And then we're left at a little mini cliffhanger between episode 11 and the finale.
Yeah, he's like, get your hands off her.
Mm-hmm. Real powerful. Mm-hmm. So episode 12... Following a huge revelation, Wolju and Gu Banjang take on a final case to resolve and do everything they can to protect Kang-bae. Mm-hmm. And so, basically, we find out that, we found out episodes ago that Wolju was pregnant when she killed herself. And because she killed herself at that sacred tree or whatever, she caused that unborn baby harm, and he was destined to be reborn in like shitty lives, basically, forever, until she fixes these 100,000 grudges. Mm-hmm. And then we find out that one of those reincarnations at this point is Kang-bae. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why he's had this burden his whole life, why people can't touch him, or they start telling him all their fucking secrets, why he's never had a real family, and anyone that was going to adopted him just like freaked the fuck out. Mm-hmm. And at that point in the pop-up bar, he helps her, he saves her, and then he passes out, and the spirit like runs away. And then Gu Banjang comes, they find out like, holy shit, is this who we think it is? Mm-hmm. And they take him to his house. They're feeding him. He's doing okay, but not great. And it's mostly just about protecting him at this point. Mm-hmm. Solving the final case and getting things squared away and getting this burden off of him. Mm-hmm. And let me see what else happens here.
Yeah. So this is where Wolju realizes after like Kang-bae saves her, and then Wolju tells Gu Banjang like, so I didn't tell you something.
Yes.
But
yeah, he had no idea about a kid.
Yeah. I think also at some point they are able to separate. Oh yeah, Kang-bae like pushes the like evil sun spirit out of death. So they're now separate again. Gu Banjang takes the death guy back to the afterlife, and he says like, I'll help you out. I'll be like your 100,000th grudge to settle. Like, bring my son back so that we can like talk and he can be punished correctly.
Yeah, he's like, I want to apologize for not being a present father, and he feels like it's he's the reason why his son turned out the way he turned out, basically.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, so it's kind of like killing a bunch of birds with one stone situation. And basically, yeah, they're just like, Kang-bae, take care of yourself. Like, we'll try to figure this out. And the evil spirit kind of does like a switcheroo situation where he makes Kang-bae think that his, Wolju and Gu Banjang are in trouble, but they're actually not. And so like he decides like his revenge will be because once he realizes that Kang-bae is their son, he realizes like, oh, I'll just take him out, and that will cause them like the most amount of grief. And so they end up like having the final showdown. I like how Yorin shows up and is like, I can fight these people.
All the spirits.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know if you want to get into like all the stuff that happens in the warehouse, but
yeah, so he takes him, he gives him the drink so he can go into his dream, and he basically has him at that spiral staircase and wants to throw Kangbei into it because you're basically fucked if you fall down there.
Yeah, you're like lost in your own subconscious, I guess.
Yes. And so she ends up going in there also. She is actually, I think what happens before is they're also fighting with him. She's fighting with him, and so is Gu Banjang. And he stabs him with a pole, like a broken pipe or something. But then the evil spirit uses his own, like, I don't know what the fuck it's called. I don't know what kind of weapon that would be called.
Like
the weird weapon. Yeah, the weird
thing.
weapon that Gu Banjang always has with him. He's throwing it at Wolju, and Gu Banjang gets in between. He gets stabbed and seemingly looks like he dies. And then at that point, like, she has nothing else she can do except try to save Kangbei. So she goes into the dream and she tries to stop them from what's about to happen. She kind of like freezes everything, basically. That guy can't move.
Because she's in control of the dream realm or whatever.
Yes. And so she gets him away from Kangbei. But then he gets pushed down. And how does she start to fall in?
I think
does he
what
grab
happens is, yeah, so like he like is able, I guess through his sheer hatred of everyone, like he overpowers her magic, and they like have a, like he lunges at her, and
That's
like
right.
he ends up falling.
And she starts to fall too.
She starts to fall, but Kangbei grabs her. Yeah.
And he's not strong enough to be able to pull her up, but he's trying, and she's telling him, like, I'm gonna let go. Just let me do this so you can live. And it's very sad. He like doesn't want his mom to go because he knows now that she's his mom. He's very, very sad, and she slowly falls down that spiral. And then that's it for a while. And Kangbei's just like back at work, but also he's having really bad issues too, like with his eyes. And I think like seeing people now, right? If he like looks at people.
I think that got resolved. He was having that in like the last episode, I think.
Okay.
So I think at this point, it's resolved. But oh no, maybe it was earlier on. So like after Wolju like falls, I think everything is like kind of closed up for him. And I think they kind of do like a fake out, like he's still wearing the sunglasses. I couldn't figure out, because in the show they're like, he says he has a really bad like eye infection.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's wearing the sunglasses. But I couldn't tell if that was just like an excuse for him or if that was the truth, because
he seems like relieved when Yorin takes off his sunglasses to look at him, and he's like, what? It was there this morning.
Yeah.
What?
So that's kind of weird. I couldn't figure that out. But yes, so he's like sad, he's bummed, but he's like trying to live his best life in honor of like the sacrifices that Gu Banjang and Wolju made for him, and just like being able to like be in a happy relationship. And then we see Wolju has been saved. They found her. And she goes to like the devil lady or whatever, and she's like, you did it, like congratulations. You were able, your like final grudge was settling like Kangbei's grudge or whatever, and like she doesn't have to go to hell anymore because of whatever. I guess they were just like, y'all have been through a lot, you helped like whatever take care of the evil spirit. So I guess that contract to going to hell doesn't apply to anyone anymore. But they're like, okay, what do you want to be reincarnated as? Like, you can be reincarnated as like anything you want. And she's like, I just want to go back to like the living world. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, well, I have a partner for you. And then Gui-Ban-Jeong comes in, and again, it's like, I don't know how, but yay!
Yeah, that's another thing they don't explain. So with that, I'm with that one reviewer where it's like, plot holes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's another one where I'm like, I'm just so happy they're together. Like, I kind of don't really care. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's all imaginary anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
It's all fucking magical.
Yeah, just like use whatever thing you come up with in your head to make you feel better about this.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. So anyway, they like open the pop-up bar. Kangbae sees them, and they're just like a little happy family. End of the series. Yay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alex and I had this discussion because, like we said, it's very similar to Hotel de Luna, except spoilers for Hotel de Luna. At the end, like they follow Hotel de Luna follows the rules of like what
was supposed to happen.
Yes. And I think Alex said like this is how Hotel de Luna should have ended, where like she just gets to live a normal life with Gu Chen-sung. But no, they have to wait until they're reincarnated again. But anyway, so yeah, I was happy. Like I just want to see them be happy together.
Yeah. Especially, I think, because, like, you start to fall in love with these characters, and you're invested in them, and you want them to be together, and the thought of them being reincarnated and, like, living different lives just isn't very exciting.
Yeah, it's just like,
and it just seems...
You have to wait again.
Yeah, and it seems so weird for, like, people that are reincarnated to somehow meet each other again and fall in love with each other again, like... I don't think the point of reincarnation is to be with the same person you were with before.
Yeah.
Even if, like, they're different and they don't remember their past life, like, that'll make no sense to me how you're going to end up with the same person every single time.
Yeah.
So it was always weird in Hotel de Luna that, like, they just re-meet. Or, like, in Goblin, Goblin meets the girl. Like, I don't know. It's fucking weird. Stuff like that is unusual.
Yeah. I know there is, like, a thing in the... I don't know if it's just Korean culture, but whatever. Or it's like, oh, we're like so fated to be together that like our souls are so connected that every time we reincarnate, like I'll find you again because whatever. But yeah, it's a little bit of a gray area.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's also interesting that like people of a race are always reincarnated in that same race.
Yeah. There's like the Korean afterlife. There's
whatever. I guess I'll never be reincarnated as a Korean. Or I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. Not reincarnated as a dung beetle.
Like that we all have our own like reincarnation countries, and within each country is its own afterlife government.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
But Steve Jobs works for the Korean one, so I don't know how that works.
He didn't want to be in the U.S. anymore, I guess.
I guess not.
Traveled overseas.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have a few awards just we can go through really quickly. Again, I didn't post these on Twitter because I forgot. But when we first like announced that we were going to do this drama, I asked people like what their favorite parts were, and basically everyone was like the part where Kangbae is like, "Mom, don't leave me," just like tears. And then someone also said like the chicken scene, which I also thought was funny. But our awards are favorite character.
That is Lumen.
Okay.
Favorite character. Okay. I'm going to say Kangbae.
Kangbae? Okay.
Yeah, because he's, like, super sweet. He has a great heart. He's willing to help anyone. He's a good moral compass.
Yes.
And even though he's had, like, a shitty life, he still cares about other people. And, like, he hasn't let that, I guess, kind of dampen his spirit and make him a mean person or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for me to pick between, like, the main three. Because, like, there are some parts... Like, I love Wolju's style. I love how, like... sassy she is, I guess. Like, she doesn't take shit from anyone.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, you're being a little too mean. Like, you need to like reel that in a little bit.
Or you're really not thinking things through right now. You're acting a little bit rash.
Yeah. I also really like Hwang Jung because he's also like kind of sweet and goofy, and it just like kind of looks out for everyone. I guess I'll go with him, but honestly, like, depending on my mood, probably I could pick any of the big three. Okay, most interesting customer / story.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, I used to. Interesting is hard. I guess, like, interesting would probably be, like, the lady who, like, adopted that girl because she, like, told lies. My favorite would probably be, I think my favorite would be, like, Yorin's, where they're, like, doing girls' night out, basically, to try to, like,
the Cinnabar.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with the woman who took care of the baby. Because that one was the second episode, and that was the episode where I was like, damn, okay. I'll watch more of this show. It's fucking crazy. And that just, I felt like that had a lot of twists and turns in terms of what was happening at that time, and, like, I don't know, crazy shit.
Crazy. Okay, and your favorite scene or just moment from the show?
Favorite scene, I'm gonna go with the end of episode 12 when Kong-bae's just kind of walking and he's a little bummed out, and then he notices the big red beautiful pop-up bar. He's just like, the fuck? And he opens the door, and it's just like any other day where they're cooking and kind of bickering with each other. He's just like, what is happening right now? And it's just, like, really sweet when he realizes, like, oh my god, they're here. Like, they're here to stay, and this is essentially my mom and dad. Like, very sweet.
Yeah, we kind of skipped over the part where, like, they go into Kangbae's, like, dream when he's, like, recovering. And they're acting like, you know,
a family. Yeah.
It's cute. Yeah, I guess the most, like, affecting moment was when, you know, Kangbae or Wolju falls, and, like, they have that, like, you didn't drop me, I let go, like, don't feel bad. But then, yeah, just seeing them all together at the end is just the best, honestly. So, those are mine. Okay, do we have anything else?
Just great fashion across the board from Wolju.
Yes.
I don't have any, like, particular standout looks, but basically, like, every episode,
she looked
her
great.
outfits were amazing.
Yes, and her lipstick was just like on point always.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just again, great looking show. Fun characters.
Yeah, definitely recommend.
I think it's an easy watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, fucking Beyond Evil was not an easy watch. It was, like, stressful.
Very good, but very stressful. Yeah,
Yes.
This has a good mix of, like, crazy, stressful, sad, funny. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little shorty. Okay, so I guess that's it. Oh, have we committed to doing, what's that one called?
Crash Landing on You?
Yes, Crash Landing on You.
I'm cool with that.
Okay, so our next drama is going to be Crash Landing on You, but we're going to separate it into part 1 and part 2 because it's really fucking long. So, January, sometime at the end of January, we'll have our part 1 reaction. So we'll introduce the drama, and do, like, I guess the first 8. I think it's a 16 episode show, but the episodes are really long. So I guess we'll do the first 8 in January and then the next 8 in February.
Cool.
So stay tuned for that. Email us or tweet us any, like, questions or your favorite parts from the show without being too spoilery. And also,
have you watched that one?
I have not. My mom has been like, you need to watch this one. Like, everyone really likes it. So also, apparently it might have an American remake coming soon.
I don't know how that works.
So. I don't know either, but let's watch the Korean one and we'll see what happens.
How it could possibly be Americanized.
Yes. So check that out. And then on Patreon, for the month of December, Jill and I are getting ready to record a little Christmas/holiday wintertime. Little mini. So check that out. Rate and review the podcast 5 stars, please. And I think that's it.
Yeah. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.